Here we go again. Same thing, different year. It's garden time again. Time to get out and start cleaning up all the garden and the raised bed area here and stuff, and time to start doing some planting, and also have to put in a couple more new bins there. You can see, and so basically this is just the start of my gardening, and there you can see I still have that tent structure I have to do something with, and the rest of the garden, the big one out there, I'll be doing that next, but I figured I'd break it into two videos and just kind of start in this raised bed area, show you what I'm planting. First thing I'm going to do is these are some shallots that were left over from last year. We've been using them all winter, but I always try to save a batch to replant in the spring, and basically that way you have an endless supply of them. So I'm just going to poke them in the ground a couple inches apart in the dirt, and there they are. Basically a couple minutes later I've got shallots planted. Now the nice thing about having raised beds is it's really easy to care for them, and I mean you can see this compost is just easy to turn over, and there are weeds and stuff that grew over the winter. Some areas have more than others, but they're pretty easy to deal with, and it's not frustrating when you're dealing with one little bed at a time either. It makes it go pretty quick and makes it a fairly easy job to get all the weeds out, get it all turned over, raked up, and ready to plant in. Now this year we seem to have gone right from winter to summer. We're having some really extremely hot weather here, and actually I got a thing of a wildflower mix I'm going to put in along my fence there. It's supposed to be really good for hummingbirds and also butterflies and stuff like that. So I'm just going to sprinkle those seeds on the outside of my fence here, and just hopefully grow some flowers this year. Now you can see I do save some beans, some seeds. Those are some beans that I saved from last year. They're tricolor, they called them. They're three different color beans. They're a yellow bean, a green bean, and a purple bean. And all the seeds are different colors actually too. So I just kind of take my time and try to sort them out and plant different colors. Just don't put two of the same color next to each other. So I got the beans in there, and then some of the boxes have this. It's a real fine weed that grew up this winter. It's just really grows really long and stringy and really fast growing. I don't know what it is, but it does come out easy, so it doesn't really bother me. And it's all going to go in the compost pile anyway for fertilizer in a future year. So it takes a little bit of time to just kind of flip everything over and shake all the compost off the roots and stuff. But that's part of spring cleanup. And I got some boxes here. I put cucumbers in, and I always like to put marigolds around my plants. For some reason, I think they really help the cucumber beetle stay away a little bit. Some other bugs. So I got them in, and then I've got peppers. Now I always plant about 7 or 8 different varieties of peppers, and you can see how easy those using those styrofoam cups makes it to transplant them. You don't have to mess with the roots on the pepper, so there's basically no shock whatsoever when you put them in. You just dig a hole big enough for it and just squeeze a cup a couple times, and everything comes out. And the roots you can see the roots are not root bound or anything yet. There's still plenty of room in there, and just pop them in a hole, level with the top of the dirt in them, level with the top of the soil, and it just takes a couple of minutes to plant a bin full of these peppers here. So there they are. I got like a whole bunch of bins of them started, and I just clean up one at a time and then plant it and clean up another one. And I do use this stuff called malorganite to put around the plants when I put them in, just so animals can't get near them. I've got that whole side of this open now where that shelter used to be, so deer could actually walk right in here and stuff. So I found this malorganite actually, in my case at least, it keeps the deer away. So I just sprinkle a little bit of that around each plant, and hopefully that'll keep animals away until I get that all turned into a greenhouse and blocked off again on that side. So basically get the plants in, and you do have to water them. This year is the opposite of last year. Last year we had just like everything was soaked. We had rain and not much sun. And this year we're just getting nothing but sunshine, so that's a real good thing. And these raised beds do have really good drainage, so you do have to make sure that you water them. So there it is. I'm starting to get most of it cleaned up now, and a little bit at a time. And I decided along the fence area I'm gonna change out this year, and I'm gonna plant a batch of tomatoes inside this area. Usually I keep them all out in the main garden, but last year, after actually losing all my tomatoes because they were so close together, I tried to spread some apart here. So all those fence posts the tomato posts that I made last year are really still in great condition. I tried brushing them off and cleaning them off and leaving them out in the sun for a while. Hopefully if there's any kind of bacteria left on them, it's dead or gone by now, but we'll find out. And once I get the stakes in there, I like to use this spade I've got. I think it's about 15 or 16 inches long, and I try to dig each tomato hole so it's that deep. I really have found that by planting most of the tomato plant, I have better luck with them. So basically you can see there, those cups work really good on the tomatoes, and a little bit of root on the bottom there, but just spread it out a little bit and put it down in the hole, and then I just take, and you can see I'm burying at least over a foot of the plant basically. So hopefully that'll help it. If we do get dry times or anything like that, it'll help it develop, a little more roots up the stem and get down into the deeper soil sections where it may still be moist. So, hopefully having a couple of tomatoes over here on the side will avoid problems if something should hit the batch in the garden, but I still don't know because I've never dealt with that blight before. Last year was my first year, so I guess I've still got a lot to learn about it. So I got the first box here, the tomatoes in, and I think those are the Paul Robeson, the dark tomatoes that are our favorite. And you can see the other boxes are pretty much all getting done now, and just time to clean up a little more at a time. It's really nice being able to attack like one little bed at a time like this. And these do have a lot of weeds in them and stuff. Probably from using some of the grass that I used for mulch last year, where I didn't put it down that thick. The weed seeds may have just carried over, but same thing. Put the stakes in, dig a 16-inch deep hole, and put the plant down as far as you can get it, and just kind of bury it all. It's funny though, this year we've had nothing but really nice sunny weather and heat, it seems like. So that's been a big change over last year. But I have to tell you though, this heated sun has just been so powerful and strong. It seems like you can't spend more than 2 hours at a time in it. So now it's time to start getting some mulch together for the garden. So the grass is pretty high and thick, and I dragged out the cyclone rake for the first time this year, and that actually, it's really working great and running good. Started right up on one pole. I was really surprised, and you can see I've got a pretty good chunk of lawn up here. I'm just going to collect the grass from the top part of my lawn to use in the garden. So it's gonna take a couple times because the grass actually is quite tall and thick right now, and it's really kind of damp too, so that does make a big difference. So here you can see we're going back down the other way, and basically you just cut it, and you really don't even know that the cyclone rake is behind it, and it just picks everything up and throws it in the bag, and makes it a real easy job to collect any grass clippings like this. Once the bag's full, which it fills up pretty quick when you got the grass this high and thick. Real quick matter of dumping it. You just have to couple latches on those back doors that swing out. You pop them and the Velcro pulls apart. And then there's another set of latches going the other way. And you can see it fills up real good. And about the worst part of dumping it is trying to pick this up, because with this wet grass, it can, if you get a really full load, it can get quite heavy. So there we go. There's the, the first load ready to be spread on the garden. And then it's back out and just, start collecting some more. And you can see it really doesn't add a lot of time to the mowing time. It's probably takes about 2 or 3 minutes to dump it when you're done, and when you've got a full bag, and you're right back out mowing again. So it does do a good job, and it's really worth it if you do have a garden and you want to use the grass clippings to, for mulch and to augment the soil and stuff. And one thing you want to try and do when you collect the grass like this is you want to try to start to spread it out for mulch as soon as you can, because it basically does start to compost within a couple of hours of cutting it and stacking it out in the sun like this. So the faster you can get it spread out, the easier it is too. But sometimes you just can't get it done. It still does make a good base layer, and I'll just throw some dry stuff on top of it later. But there you can see that's a really full one, and that's it's quite heavy dumping that. They do make a power option that if you have any kind of a back problem or anything like that, I'd really have to recommend that you kind of go with something like that to make it easier to use. But basically you can see this thing's been easy to dump. It does fill up really quick, and it does do a really good job. And I've had no problems at all with it since they actually downgraded me to the 8-inch blower on mine, because I was having trouble with the clogging of it. So basically it's been completely trouble free since they took a look at it and got it working right for me. It just shows you that there really are still some, good companies out there that actually stand behind their product and, make sure that it works right for you. So, unlike Aaron's. So, here it is, another bin full, and then I just, kept going. I added that top area. That's, probably did about 2.5, maybe a little bit over 2.5 acres, so I did get quite a bit of mulch. And then I just started to go back and mulch the tomatoes and whatnot. With this real dry weather and everything being so dry, I find it really helps to have a little bit of mulch on them to keep the moisture in, so that you don't have to water quite so much. And if you do grab a little bit of rain or something like that, it actually holds it for longer also. So I've been using this, this grass clippings for about 3 years now for mulch, since I got that cyclone rake, and I think it's really helped my garden out. So there it is. I did about an hour and a half later, I did have several truckloads of grass clippings to use for mulch, and that was just one pass over, and I'll still do a couple more. So you can see here that the tomatoes are in, and they actually look pretty good. They don't really go into shock or anything when you plant them in those big styrofoam cups. And then at the same time, I got out my spring ensemble, my Tractor Supply coveralls there, so no more saggy pants in the videos, hopefully, and solve that one problem. And now it's back to doing some more planting, and I saved some seeds from the okra last year. Now I don't plant a lot of okra. We like to grill it, and my wife will make a couple batches of gumbo, but that's about it. So I'm just going to plant a couple short rows of the okra here, and that'll be plenty for us. So there's my shallots, and then I've got some beets in that one. And then I threw some leftover potatoes from last year in that one. These are, I think these are California Wonder peppers. These are the habanada peppers. These are the Italian di Cruno peppers. I think these may be banana peppers. And then there's 2 bins of carrots. And then there's a bin of basil on the end. So those are all done and planted. And you can see I got the tomatoes running down that fence there this year. So hopefully they'll get good airflow and be in a good area there to keep them disease free. We'll find out. And I got some okra in there, and then a couple pole bean poles put in there to have some pole beans, and just some more marigolds and some green onions we have that come back every year, and some rainbow chard in there, and then there's some more peppers and some cucumbers that'll be climbing, and there's some Marketmore cucumbers, Anaheim peppers, 3-color beans, and these are Boston pickling cucumbers. And then there's some Panther edamames that already have popped up. They popped open in 3 days. I just couldn't believe it. The weather has just been so hot. And then a couple more of the Jimmy Nardello peppers. And now it's time to get to work on replacing these 3 boxes up here. But let's go up by the house there. You can see my spinach is, we're eating that already. And we got some kale and parsley coming up in that first box there. And then the next one we got a bunch of radishes we're starting to get now. And there's some bok choy, baby pak choy, rainbow chard in there. And, and then the lettuce, we're just starting to pick the young greens and eat them. And the spinach has just been awesome this year. I just hope that the heat doesn't send it up to seed real quick. And there you can see I've been eating these spinach salads. I made that video about them last year, and they are really my favorite. And the tomatoes and the eggplant still have to go in here. So it's time to start cleaning up these boxes. And they do have those strange long weeds that are real thin and fluffy and stuff like that. So first thing I do is try to get most of the weeds off the top of the old boxes. Now, these are some of the original boxes that I had put in, and I just used plain SPF lumber from Home Depot for them. It was cheap at the time, and I didn't really want to use the pressure treated and stuff, so I just bought the cheapest thing I could do. And let's see, I think I got 7 years out of these boxes, and now they basically, the wood is all rotted on the inside, and boxes, you can see they're pretty much falling apart and stuff. So I did have some more of the aluminum pool extrusions that I decided to, make up a couple more boxes for here. And there you can pretty much see the wood is all rotten and full of ants and stuff like that. So it's definitely, done for. So I got all the dirt out of that first section of the box, and I just got to cut the wood away, which is really not much to cut left. It's just kind of punky, yucky stuff, and clean that area up a little bit and start to get it leveled off a little bit. And these bins are a little bit bigger than the ones that I put on the other side. And I pretty much got everything, where I wanted it and stuff. And then I just went back and I had to cut out that landscape fabric that stuck out there. So just use a big old machete to cut down the dirt and cut that out and get the aluminum walls there all lined up and everything, and then just start backfilling them with the some of the dirt from that came out of them, and try to pick some of the weeds and stuff out as you go. And then I also did throw some wheelbarrows full of compost in each of the bins. This is fresh compost, so hopefully that'll help give them a good start. Yeah, I really like how the aluminum bins turned out on the other side there, and there it is all done and ready to plant. I actually like the round shape. It's just real easy to take care of and easy to plant stuff. You can see here, and you can see how those cups actually, how they work with the eggplants also. They just, everything just comes right out of them, and you have no shock or anything when you plant it. Just have to just get it so that the soil is flush with the soil. And with these, they have those big leaves on them, so I found that you have to tie them up when you put them in too, because get one good wind, it'll snap the plants right off. So you have to put a little bit of string on there just to hold them up till they get a little bit thicker stem on them and stuff. So there's the first bin of eggplants, and now I have 2 more to go. So, same thing over and over again. I'm just gonna dig the dirt out of the second one and get the old wooden pieces out of the way, and then go back and start leveling everything up and get it situated where I want, and then go back and fill it up. So there's another one, and basically just 1 more to go. So, and there's the last one. So it was a couple hours job by the time I got done, but at least I think these aluminum things should last the rest of my life, so I won't have to worry about them again. With everything in the raised bed area planted, it's time to go out and do the final tilling on the garden, and that will be the next video that I make. I decided to break it in 2 this year. It's amazing how easy this old Troy-built rototiller is to use. If only Aaron could make a snowblower that would work as good and as easy as this tiller does. But anyhow, so now, you can see the garden's really, all that clay is all broken up and everything's all fluffy and basically ready to go now. So I'm down here tilling. I've actually had the Weber grill all fired up by the house, and I got smoking up a batch of pork chops for dinner tonight. So I'm gonna have some pork chops and medallion onion. So here you can pretty much see this is the first part of it. My garden is planted. I have all this raised bed area planted now. I have all my early salad boxes up by the house that I'm starting to eat out of now also, and hopefully in a couple of days, the way this weather has been, everything will be germinated and growing real good. And once I get the gardens done, I actually have to start trying to figure out how to turn that old steel framework into a greenhouse. So that's going to be one of the next challenges this summer. And you can pretty much see that we're eating our salads and lettuce now, and the baby bok choy and pak choy and everything else is just about ready to go. And the spinach is just awesome this year. It is so tender. So this is where I stand so far this year, and thanks for watching. Please subscribe.